I'm Molly Campbell. I'm the author of Finding Empowerment in Grief and Loss. And I'm here at the invitation of Authority Magazine to talk to you about 5 ways journaling can help you be more calm, more mindful, and resilient. I was never a journaler. Journaling came to me completely unexpected after I was widowed on the verge of the COVID-19 pandemic. The world was in crisis. The news was bad. I had just lost my husband right before the lockdown, 3 weeks before the lockdown. And I was in bad shape. My emotions were running wild. My only company were my 2 dogs here at home. And I had to turn away from the news of the day. I couldn't take the devastation and the sadness of the world while I was trying to navigate this new world of being a widow at home, basically 24/7, because that's how much I was crying. And I began to turn inward, and I started taking notes in an appointment book I had. And that, over time, evolved into journaling. And as I said, I've never been a journaler. I've never given it any time, but I sure gave it time during my isolation at home. And I discovered some things in journaling. I discovered it revealed to me a framework for me to unburden myself of my grief. And it showed me a path through grief with my ability to observe and record and review and assess my thoughts and emotions and behavior to alter my future by looking at how I was being affected and deciding and making choices about how I wanted to be affected going forward. And so I want to share with you some of the things I've learned. And they are 5 things that will help you through journaling to become more calm, more mindful, and more resilient. The first one is that I feel the calming effect of journaling comes to you because it's a private thing. No one is looking over your shoulder. No one is grading you. No one is assessing you. It's inspiring calm in you because writing takes thought. You have to choose a pen or a pencil or a marker. You have to choose a paper or a notebook or a journal to sit down and journal. Journaling helps you with calmness because you can use it to vent. I used it a lot, and I burned pages too, because I'd let bad words and bad temper rage along with unbelievable sadness and grief. But I could get out what I was frightened of. I could talk about what upset me. I could put all my emotions on the page, many of them that I wouldn't speak to another person on the phone about or share in any other way. And that unburdening can bring calm when you use your journal to pour yourself into like that. A journal can also hold your aha moments. Things that have come to you, that occur to you, that you say, hey, I never thought of that before. And you write it down for future thinking about. You can use your journal for doodling, drawing shapes and pictures, indicating how you feel. I used it for making little faces. Most of them had trails of tears down them, especially concerning heart days or holidays, but there's a freedom in journaling that when you spend time brings you calmness. Calmness also comes in journaling, I found, when you have a story to tell. We all have a story inside us. A lot of us don't ever take the time to write our stories out, but it can be an extremely valuable thing to commit your story to a journal, whether anyone ever sees it or not. Mine just happened to turn into a book, which I never expected in a million years, but it did. And I'll tell you, when I hold that journal that became a book in my hands, it's all suspended in space and time that I will never forget. And in a way, putting my story into the journal caused me not to have to carry it forward in my heart so much. I poured it into the pages. It exists. It will never be altered. I will never forget what happened. I can continue to learn from what happened. And it has become part of the fabric of my life. And it's committed to those pages where I can go back and read it anytime, but it's given me some space around my heart so that I don't have to keep revisiting it in my heart. I really urge you to commit your story, because we all have a story, in a journal and see how that feels to you. So the third thing about journaling, and this has to do with resiliency, is that it helps you become a better observer of yourself, as you can be more honest and write the facts of your life in your journal. You can dissect your feelings. You can reverse negative patterns. You can change your thoughts and behaviors based on what you see that you've reported in your reality. And this is really valuable. No one else can do this for you but you. Who's going to know yourself better than you? But it does take being committed to write and review and consider and reflect on your honesty about what you're doing, how you're behaving, and how you're feeling. Worth your time, though. The fourth thing about journaling is that it can sharpen your awareness about who and what is around you in your life. The people that are around you as you write about them, just in writing about your daily life in your journal, when you go back and look at many, many, many pages, weeks and months of pages, and you start to realize that your mentioning of this person or that person brings up either positive or negative feelings around what happened to you that day or how you felt about it. You start looking at those people and you can make the decision to step away from those negative influencers in your life and spend more time with those people that make you feel positive about yourself. It's an interesting thing to do in writing and reviewing, to see that, to see your cast of characters, if you will, and really sift through them to make choices about where you spend your time and how you allow that time to affect you. You can also use your journal in review to look at your likes and dislikes, just things that you've written over many days and weeks and months that you say, I like this, I didn't like that. And you start looking at what's mounting up in the evidence of your pages. And it can really help you to make changes toward doing more of what's positive that you like in your life and make changes away from what's negative and that you don't like. It can really bring it to the forefront. Something like, if you keep saying you don't like your job, start making a plan to change it. Don't allow a negative like that to rule your life. There's always a way to make a plan and step by step get away from more negatives and work toward the positives that you see in your own writing that you like to do in your life. And writing and reviewing can also help reveal dreams and goals that you're not even necessarily aware of in your life. But when you review what you've written for quite some time and you start looking at words and phrases and topics, especially when you see yourself saying, I wish this, or I wish that. Well, do these things now point up to you a dream that you're not working to realize? Dreams are goals that can be broken down into small bits and pieces and steps to help you get to where you really, really want to go. And I find that journaling really does help you when you spend the time and you put the effort into it, that you can build more resilience and be more welcoming of what you want to have happen and not what you don't want to have happen. And two ways in the fifth thing I want to talk about journaling that really brings mindfulness and anchors it into your life are gratitude and intention. A practice of journaling that allows for you to make a habit of every single day writing what you're grateful for. And some days that's a big challenge. Some days it feels like it's a bad day and nothing good happened. However, if you challenge yourself to look at that day and pick it apart and say, gee, the sun came out, or there wasn't anything bad in the mail, or there was a really great phone call, or some interesting program that you watched, or some other thing that happened that was good. If you just start writing little things in gratitude every single day, it will change your focus. It will not allow you to go to glasses half empty. It will continually fill your glass half full with things that you really, truly feel grateful for. And it changes the energy around you. It makes it different when you walk into a room. You're in a more upbeat frame of mind. And hand in hand with gratitude is intention. And writing your intention for your next day is so powerful every day. It does take making a habit out of it, but take the time in your journal to just write an intention for the next day. It focuses you on what you want instead of what you don't want. Don't accept what you don't want. Anchor your life into what you do want. There is no other practice that I know of, especially journaling with positive practices like listing gratitudes and setting intentions. There is no better way of staying mindful in your life than those things. So if you give yourself the time and the gift of time to write out what happens to you on a daily basis and to be consistent with that writing and to be honest in your writing and give yourself a lot to review, give yourself lots of pages, lots of weeks, lots of months to go back and look for patterns and look for triggers and look for behaviors and things that you want to change. It's going to give you a different experience in your life. Yes, it's work, but it's work in your life and your reality. Fantasy is a wonderful thing to get lost in. It's heroic, and there's evil and there's good, and it can be a very compelling thing, but nothing is more worthwhile than your own reality and spending time in journaling with your own reality. I like to say, engage your brain to help your heart. Try pouring yourself into the pages of your journal. See what direction and enlightenment comes from doing that. I wish you peace in your heart. I'm Molly Campbell.